I love this time of year, the fall season. It's sweater weather, it's soup season. I have some soup simmering on the stove right now, and I just pulled out some fresh sourdough bread. And I made apple fritters earlier, and it just smells so good. I have cinnamon vanilla candles going also, so there's a lot going on over here. But ironically, I also have the air conditioning going. And while on the surface, if you come inside, it feels very much like fall, outside, it's still very much like summer. And I'm going to be speaking today on the narcissistic family dynamic and the unspoken rules that come with that, and how that family tends to look on the surface versus what's going on behind closed doors underneath the surface. And October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I have been doing some community presentations, some workshops on various domestic violence topics. And when we're having group discussions, frequently narcissism is coming up in those discussions. So it seemed a good idea to touch on that today, and I'm going to do a 3-part series. And please know I'm not a psychologist. I'm just someone who has a lot of life experience and a lot of experience working in an advocacy role, working with others who've been through various dynamics of domestic violence and narcissistic abuse and sexual assault and stalking, various issues like that. So I'm speaking from that perspective. I can kind of give some real life perspective to a lot of these topics. And the narcissist dynamic is often very much present in a targeting situation in gang stalking, whether it's a narcissistic ex at the root, a narcissistic family member, a narcissistic boss, a narcissistic person of power that's let their ego get the best of them. Narcissism is often rooted in targeting situations. So there's benefit in multiple areas to being more aware of some of these dynamics. And when it comes to the narcissistic family dynamic, image is the most important thing for any narcissist. Their protection of image, keeping that mask on, is the most important thing to them. They want to be seen as kind and helpful and a good provider and a good person, and they'll go to great lengths to protect that image and hide who they really are behind closed doors with those that are close to them. And the unspoken rule is that those who are close to the narcissist, usually their family members, know better than to speak about what really goes on behind the scenes, because it puts a target onto their back. And the narcissist will go to great lengths to portray themselves in the community as someone who's very helpful and kind. They'll often hold positions in the church or in the community. They'll often be those that are quick to donate or to help others out. There could be a broken pipe and flooding at home, but that narcissist will leave the family members to figure it out and run and go help another family, because it's about the praise, the recognition, the image that's most important to them. It's not going to be important to them that the family see them that way. It's the outside world. How are they perceived? So any threat to that image by any family member will cause that family member to be further othered and ostracized and mob attacked by many of the family members. If they try to speak up about abuse or dynamics that are happening, they will very much experience a targeting situation within that family. Feelings are wrong in a narcissistic family. It's another unspoken rule that you don't ever have a feeling that differs from the narcissist. If they like a sports team, you automatically like that sports team, because you're wrong if you like a different one. I know when my kids were little, I tried to introduce a lot of different vegetables, and they loved to eat spinach leaves and broccoli. They called broccoli trees, and they would ask, "Can I have spinach and trees for snack?" And as a mom, I'd be like, "Yes, of course." But the other parent didn't like those vegetables, and so would tell the kids they were wrong because he didn't like those. Those are gross. I don't like those things. Why do you like them? and couldn't wrap his head around the fact that it's okay that they liked something that he didn't like, that they could have a different perspective on vegetables than the narcissistic parent. And when you're dealing with that kind of dynamic, something as small as you like broccoli and I don't, imagine if you're in that family dynamic and you have a different political view or a different religious view, or want to do things in a way that is different than what is expected. That is just not going to fly in a narcissist's dynamic, their family dynamic. It's their way or the highway. Conditional acceptance, that kind of falls into the same vein, where if a family member wants to choose a different path than what's expected of them by that narcissist dynamic, they want to parent differently or choose a different career than what's expected of them, or a different faith, that is going to cause their love for that family member to cease. It's conditional. You either follow the rules, you live the way we expect you to live, or you're going to be othered, you're going to be shunned, we're going to cut you off, we're going to stop talking to you, we don't love you anymore. And it's black or white when it comes to narcissist thinking. There's a shortage of love. So in a narcissistic family dynamic, there's never enough love to go around. There's generally going to be a golden child that's going to receive a lot more love than the rest of the siblings, and a black sheep that's going to receive a lot less. So that golden child is going to be favored and be given a lot of praise and opportunity. They get excused from any wrongdoing. They generally don't have to do any chores. They're given things very easily. Whereas the other siblings will receive less, and the black sheep, or the family scapegoat, will be totally othered and receive the opposite treatment of the golden child. For whatever reason in that dynamic, not everyone will receive the same love. Blame is a huge part of a narcissistic family dynamic. So say a narcissist family member is pouring milk and they spill some milk on the counter. If the black sheep is nearby, they're going to get blamed for that. Well, you made noise, so you made me spill milk. It's your fault. Or if the narcissist flies off the handle and goes into a rage or breaks something or raises their voice, it's always somebody else's fault. There's never an accountability like, I was out of line, I did something wrong, I overreacted. You'll never hear that from a narcissist. You'll never hear, I'm sorry. It's always, you did this, you made me do this, you made me react this way. It's always the blame game. Choosing sides is a huge part of this dynamic. So say parents divorce and one parent's a narcissist, there is an expectation that you be loyal to that parent, because if you show any love, favor, speak highly of this parent, you're being disloyal and betraying this parent. It's very black and white thinking. And that can even be with siblings. If you aren't favoring the golden child or show any kind of love or concern for the targeted black sheep of the family, somehow you're being disloyal to that golden child and to the family in general, especially the main narcissist of the family. Competition. This is where you see a dynamic where a narcissistic parent is in competition with their children. And if a child, especially the black sheep, has any kind of success, that narcissistic parent becomes very threatened, because they really need to be the center of attention, the center of praise and approval, and don't want any attention going to anyone else, especially the designated family failure, the designated black sheep. So if you openly say, hey, I got this opportunity, or I got this award, or I got this promotion, that will immediately become a means of the mob family attack, and they'll be bad-mouthing that family member and resentful because of their having any kind of success. Successes aren't something that are celebrated in a narcissistic family dynamic. They're a threat. Vulnerability. Let me back up real quick too, because I think it's important with that competition. An adult child of a narcissist can call that narcissistic parent, and that parent has zero interest in the life of their child, here or in adulthood. It's not a matter of what's going on in your life, how are your kids, what is going on in your world. It's, let me tell you about what's going on in my world, because they need that praise, that approval in any sense that they can get it. They need to be the center of attention. And, way into adulthood, this parent will be talking about their accomplishments and what they're doing and show little to no interest in their child and what's going on in their life. Vulnerability is a danger. So if you express any kind of weakness in a narcissistic family dynamic, you will be forever labeled in that way. Say you were 2 years old and you threw a temper tantrum and threw yourself on the floor when you were a toddler, that will follow you in a narcissistic family. In your 30s and 40s, they'll still be, well, that one time, so this is who you are. Or if you have any kind of life struggle, normal life struggles like financial struggles or struggles in a marriage, you will be forever labeled as a failure. That struggle will be thrown in your face for years to come, even after it's resolved. And if you express any kind of vulnerability like, I feel this, or, I'm struggling with this, that will be exploited and used against you by the larger family group at the direction of the family narcissist. So it's not safe to say, I'm struggling or I'm having a hard time. Often it becomes necessary to keep those matters private from a narcissist. Submission is required. So disagreeing with a narcissist, even if they're wrong, is never really acceptable in a dynamic like this. So say you're in the car and the narcissist is driving and the instructions say to turn left and they turn right. If you say, well, the instructions say we should turn left, they'll insist that they're right, even though they're clearly wrong and you're going the wrong way and now you're lost. It's probably going to be blamed on you somehow. It's your fault or somebody else's fault that, there was an error. It's never their fault. Or they'll just stick in this reality that I'm right always. And, you can't say otherwise in that kind of dynamic. Denial is also a huge component to this family dynamic. Everyone in the family is in denial that the dynamic exists. Nobody will acknowledge that we got a narcissist on our hands, or this person's mistreating people in the family or abusive. There's a complete denial about it. And if that family member that's generally the black sheep speaks up and says, this isn't okay, or I'm uncomfortable with this, or tries to expose outside of the family what's going on to get help, they will become a huge target in the family mobbing. The whole family will team up against them and bully them. And this is where you see Great Lakes gone to protect that image. The family will try to set that family member up for crimes, to get them arrested, to discredit them. They'll smear their name throughout the community and throughout the church and throughout all the extended family to make everyone think that that family member is unstable and unbelievable, has no credibility. They'll say horrible things about their own family member to protect that image so no one will believe them. And it can become very dangerous for those that are black sheep that do expose or speak up or stick to their guns on things, because it can become physically dangerous for that family member if that narcissist is so dedicated to protecting the image for themselves and the whole family, because it's really important to them that they present as having everything together. We're a functional family, we go to church, we have our act together, we volunteer, and we are philanthropists, and however else they're portraying themselves. So it can be very difficult for a targeted individual, if this is your family dynamic, or just in general, if this is what you're familiar with. And unfortunately, you can't go to the narcissist and say, hey, I don't feel safe telling you my feelings, or it really bothers me when you blame me for things that I had no part in, or it really hurts my feelings when all the family is talking about me and exploiting, any kind of perceived weakness about me. Those aren't things you can safely do in a narcissist family dynamic. So my hope is bringing to light these issues, and for those that have been through them, you can relate and identify, okay, I'm not the only one that's trying to survive this kind of challenging dynamic.